Okay.
Hi there, welcome back everyone. This is Frederick Norona. These are my brief encounters, sometimes not so brief. Today we have a very special topic. I wonder how many of y'all have actually listened to Radio Mango, radiomango.ca, and this is how it sounds.
Radio Mango, Radio Mango, ooh la la la, Radio Mango, Radio Mango, Radio Mango, Radio Mango.
Făcut 4 दिसांनी बालोक जेजूचो जोलूम आमी मनयतल्या आनी एकामेकाक मेरी क्रिसमस म्हणून आमी हें मुखेल फेस्त आमचें सेलिब्रेट करतल्या. Last minute shopping चलता, कुसवारूय चलता, decorations, Christmas tree, रांदप चड बिजी आमी सगळीं ह्या वेळार. तर हांव खूब आभारी की तुमी थोडो वेळ काडून आयकतात म्हूण वो आमचो Radio Mango. This is Milena, this is Radio Mango आणि वो पॉडकास्ट हांव सादर करता 13 वर्सांतल्यान टोरंटो कॅनडांतल्यान. ही 13 वर्सां आमी बरोबर सारल्यान कित्याक आमी सोगोत एक संत मानतात की कोंकणी भास जावन आसा आमकां खास. ह्या क्रिसमसाच्या सिजनाक हांव तुमकां आनी तुमच्या फॅमिलीक मागता खुशालपण आनी बरी भलायकी आनी ऑफकोर्स सोवस्काय. Aikat Noite de Paz, Night of Peace, gaita Olaf Rodrigues.
Okay, so you've got a hint of what it's all about. Everyone has heard a little snatch of Radio Mango. I hope some of you, many of you, all of you have heard Radio Mango in the past. We'll start at the end. Radio Mango, as you might have heard, is a Konkani broadcaster in North America, the only one in the full of North America, based in Toronto, Canada. And today with me we have a very special guest, that is the lady who has been behind Radio Mango for the last 13 years. 13 lucky for some, unlucky for some. So after 13 years of hard work, Radio Mango, I won't say it's shutting down, is changing its form or whatever. We'll hear from Milena. She's done a valiant job of keeping this Konkani radio station going for such a long time from North America. Okay, I think it's really valiant, and you know my stand towards the small media. I'm very supportive of it. So if you feel that I'm going a bit overboard in praising Milena, it's not only because of what I believe in, but it's also because she deserves it. So I'll stop yakking now, and we listen to the story from the horse's mouth, as they say. So this station, you can listen to its archives at RadioMango.ca. RadioMango.ca, CA for Canada. Radio Mango comes from MANGO. Milena will tell you more about it, not my job. So Milena, let us start at the end. I think it's been a long haul. Really hats off to you for keeping it going for so long. We really appreciate what you did. Tell us where you are, what your plans are, what part of the plans are public, and the kind of how it got started and all that. We'll get talking. Please.
Firstly, Frederick, thank you for having me. And I really appreciate what you do for Goa, Goans, writers, and all the creative people. You really support the small entrepreneurs, the people who may not have got a platform. So kudos to you. And thank you for having me.
That's a small
Radio
job.
Mango, thanks. Radio Mango was started in 2012. We had great dreams. We had big dreams, and we started it. It was exciting. I had 4 partners with me. But since it was on radio, we were live for 5 years, once a week. Getting it to sustain it through advertising was not possible because the money was not coming in every day like other radios, right? So whatever we made, we plowed back by having Radio Mango events and dances, etc. But $1,000 to give the station per month was getting really tough. So we moved to podcast, which was actually the best transition considering two things. Podcast was becoming a popular
Just
form
just to
of,
interrupt you, Milena. Just sorry to
sure.
interrupt you. What just to explain to the audience is what Milena is explaining, since we all know it already and people like us know it. So she's taking us for granted. But for those who don't know the station, it was a community radio station which bought time of one of the community networks there. They had to pay something like $1,000 every month for the time. That is 4 hours a month, one hour or 2 hours per week. Milena will correct us.
It was once a week
Once
on
a
a
week.
Saturday.
Yeah, for 1 hour or
Yes.
for 1 hour, for an hour.
For actually 2 hours.
2 hours, 2 hours. So they paid
Yes.
$1,000 for that every month, and now they've shifted to podcast in which year? So that
We shifted to podcast in 2021.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So earlier it was actually a radio station. Now it's podcast, which has its advantages, as Milena will explain. Sorry.
Yes. So, yeah, your question was where is it now?
Yeah.
So, after 13 years, after I did some research, I realized that many of our listeners, Fred, are older people. So, they are not tech friendly. So, SoundCloud, on which this podcast is hosted, seemed to be a little bit of challenging for them. So we decided now to go to YouTube. So it will be friendly for them to get on YouTube. Everybody knows YouTube. It's not so difficult. As well, there will be a bit of our presence, so maybe there will be a better connection. So we are hoping to come back in spring. This is winter now here, somewhere March, April, with a fresh new Mangalorean talent, husband and wife team. I'm not going to give out everything because I want people to stay excited. So we'll come back as a podcast, but on YouTube.
But
Hoping more people will tune in.
to give credit where credit is due, I think you've done an absolutely amazing job. You and your team, that is Jerry and the others, have done an absolutely amazing job in terms of keeping this station going for so long. Not only that, it's a small station. It's a migrant focused station. It's a Goa focused station operating out of North America, with in Konkani at that. कित्याक आमचे भाशा सारके उरोंक ना, सुदरोंक हे सारके उलोवपाक मातशें कठीण जाता चड लोकांक, आनी लँग्वेज लॉस म्हणटा पळय ते सारके गजाल. इट इज अ ट्रू स्टोरी.
तुवें सारकें सांगलां, लँग्वेज लॉस आसा.
वय.
And the more आमी परदेसान आसात, the language loss is greater.
या
कसले कारणांक लागून I haven't really pinpointed it. आमी गोंयकार लोक उलोवंक फाटी
वय.
सरतात.
वय.
बट सगळे मंगळूरकार हांगा
वय.
तांच्या घरांत गेल्यार, तांच्या मिसाक गेल्यार, तांचे इव्हेंट्साक गेल्यार ते सगळे कोंकणी उलयतात. दे आर
वय.
व्हेरी प्राऊड, गोड घेवन उलयतात.
वय.
बट आमचे गोंयकार इतले न्हय. सो
वय.
त्या पासत म्हाका खूपच कठीण जालें हे हो रेडिओ चालू दवरपाक. बट मंगळूरकारांनी आनी खूब अर्रात गोंयकार पळय आसात हांगा, ताणें खूबच म्हाका सपोर्ट दिला. वय.
मिलेना बाय, मातशी एक सांगूंक गेल्यार न्हय, हांव कितें म्हणूंक सोदतां पळय, आमचे फामील न्हय, आमी ब्राजील बी जल्मल्ले तेन्नाच्यान थंयच्यान आयले हांगासर. म्हाका 50 वयर वर्सां जालीं, 60 वयर वर्सां जालीं हांगासर गोंय आसून. तरी पूण न्हय कोंकणी उलोवपाक मातशें डिफिकल्ट जाता, कित्याक आमचे फामिलान 2-3 जनरेशनाक आमी भायर हाडले, गोंया भायर. सो हांव न्हय हांव लोकांचे फकाणां करिना तूं कोंकणी नकोय म्हणून, पूण लोक म्हाका सांगता तुजी कोंकणी सुदारूंक जाय म्हणून म्हाका सांगता, which is true, you know. We have that problem. So anyway, I will not sit in judgment about against those who have a language problem, but I appreciate your work in keeping the language going with all the distance, showcasing the unique music without running into problems, and doing it so well, getting the cooperation.
thank God.
of people.
But I will, at the sound of being contradictory, I
Yeah.
will say, unlike you, where you do not want to be judgmental. Now, आमच्या घरान
होय.
3 languages असले. आमची म्हजो पाय आणि माय Portuguese लोक.
होय.
My grandparents, one set only spoke Portuguese.
होय.
But आम्ही कोंकणी उलोवंक आमच्या माय पायन आमकां एनकरेज केलें कित्याक इस्कॉलान आमी इंग्लीश उलयताले. So we grew up speaking 3 languages. I will counter your thing by saying my husband is a Malayali, right?
होय.
तोय केरळान जल्मोंक ना, थंय व्हड जावंक ना, तो मलयाळम उलयता. पंजाबी लोक हांगा येवन फकत पंजाबी उलयतात. तांचे for 3 generations Punjabi people have
Yeah.
been here, right? But ते अजुनूय पंजाबी उलयतात. चायनीज लोक आसात हांगा,
होय.
केन्ना थावन चायनीज उलयतात. आमकां कितें जालां?
होय होय तूं म्हणटा तें सारकें. तूं म्हणटा तें सारकें. एंड आमच्यान उलोवपाक सुद्दां आमचे लॉज आमी लॉज घेवपाचे न्हू आनी लॉज दिश्टी पडपाचे न्हू कोंकणी उलोवपाक. हावेवर टुटी फुटी इट मे बी आमी कोंकणी उलोवंकूच जाय. एंड वी नीड द गायड्स एंड द लर्निंग मटिरियल्स एंड एनकरेजिंग द नेक्स्ट जनरेशन टू लर्न. But we leave that debate aside for the moment. But having said that, I also know that Radio Mango, the name comes from MANGO, which is Mangalo and Goa.
It's Bangalore and Goa.
Yeah,
yes,
so it's an amazing experiment. I enjoyed Jerry DeMello, was he?
Wait.
Jerry DeMello. आणि तू
Wait.
त्यांना उलयताले पळय तेन्ना he in his Mangalore accent, you in your Konkani dialect. And it used to
Wilson
get on very
D'Souza
well.
used to be my co-host. Jerry DeMello news घेऊन येताले.
Okay.
And remember, सगळे volunteers असले. Jerry DeMello and all the rest, like our Tina Costa.
Hoy. We'll come back.
volunteer.
We are jumping ahead of ourselves in the story.
Yes.
We'll come to all that.
Jerry
We have to give
used
credit.
to-
We have to give credit to
Right.
all these people. We will come back to
That
that
is
in
true.
due turn.
So
But-
we 4 partners were Wilson, who used to co-host with me.
Okay.
Magir asle Pedro Paul Quiterio and of course Alan Sequeira.
Alan.
आणि विल्सन 2-3 वर्सां उपरांत ही लेफ्ट इट कित्याक खूब काम आसात.
होय.
एवरी सॅटर्डे पळय टू डू अ प्रोग्राम फ्रॉम 7 to 9 थंय वचपाक आसलें एट द रेडिओ स्टेशन 6 वरांचेर.
हां.
सो आनी सगळे पार्ट्यो जातात
होय.
सॅटर्डे
होय.
दिसा.
सारकें.
सो आमकां केन्ना पार्टी वी वर नेवर ऑन टायम. सो तो म्हणूंक लागलो आतां 2 वर्सां उपरांत ही gave up. Alan was my co-host. He didn't enjoy co-hosting, but he managed. He stepped up to the plate, so to speak. And so we carried on for another 3 years. आणि 6 वर्सां जाल्या उपरांत we took a little break and we came back and आतां 13 वर्सां. वय.
Milena bhai, तुवें एक आर्टिकल बरयला where you have explained how you got the idea. Can you tell us in your words how it
Yes,
came to you?
it's amazing how things happen. 2 things happened actually. 3 things happened actually. I had a full-time job and that came to, it was a contractual job. So I was in no man's land wondering at the kide konche pude, number 1. Number 2, I was sitting in a salon doing my eyebrows. And थंय एक भाशा हांवें आयकली and it was alien to me. म्हाका कळोंक ना कसली भाशा. तो हांवें विचारलें रेडिओचेर ही भाशा कसली. I knew it was Eastern.
Right.
आनी ते म्हणूंक लागले it's Nepali radio. I said Nepali? तुमी कितें 10-15 हजार लोक आसात हांगा? She said yes. हांवें चिंतलें आमी 50 वयर हजारा वयर लोक आसात हांगा. Maybe a couple of 100,000 including the Mangaloreans and all the Gaut-Saraswat GSP community.
Konkani speakers as a whole.
Konkani speakers. So I said, that was seed number 2 in my head. Or maybe a couple of days later, Mozo Bao Newton Marquis, who lives in Melbourne, that is agle amche ek radio asa, Voice of Goa अशें कितें. but supported by the GOA. So they were also community radio supported by the GOA.
No longer existing.
No longer existing,
Okay, that's right.
unfortunately.
Okay.
And itane sangle because they Konkani uloy na hale. They English in uloy tale, but Konkani kartara.
Huh.
So he said, "Why don't you listen to us?" Maka link that le. And I heard it and I said, "Hey, I have a master's in broadcasting from St. Xavier's College in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Why don't I do something?" So it was like the perfect storm, Frederick, all three things. I had the time. I got motivated, inspired by the fact that Nepali people had a radio here. I mean, almost like, what the heck?
Yeah.
We should be having it here.
Yeah.
We are here from the early 70s, and the Goan community, that is. And then the Voice of Goa, or the Goan Voice, I've forgotten the name, in Melbourne. So, and that's how I told my husband, I'm going to start a radio. It was just like that.
Wow. Fascinating,
And,
fascinating
I
story.
went to the station, yeah, and they said,
Everything
"Konkani,
fell in
what is
place.
that?" Anyway.
But Ekut Sangyal, you mentioned that you were inspired by Nepali broadcasting in Canada, community
Right.
broadcasting. Just by the way, Nepal has a very active community radio network going in back home in Nepal. And in fact, we in
Oh.
India were looking to them in the 90s. This is mid to late 90s, because they had legalized their community stations and kind of set them up, and much before India gave permission around 2007. India allowed community radio in 2007, but even then it's far from effective, and the licensing is very difficult and all that. But
Trust
Nepal,
you, Frederick, to know this tidbit. I didn't know.
no, much
Thank
interest.
you.
I've got a slight interest in this field, so that's that. But so then what were the next steps? Tell us the next steps.
Then, of course, I went to CMR radio. It's Cultural Marketing Radio now, CMR. Government Antanka licensed Tedna many years ago to, they're all Tamil people, meaning refugees.
Okay.
Tanin wo community radio suru kello. But of course, they were charging, right? But they were so intrigued by Konkani
Yeah.
that I was paying for 1 hour, but they gave me 2 hours because to well ni 7 to 9 konang thui sarpak naka bos pak
Okay.
radio che
Okay.
because they have other things to do, so that was vacant. And at that time there was this lovely marketing manager there, and he said, Raghavan, and he said, "Hey, I know your community, and I know this is going to be a fun radio and fun music. And maka doon waran dili, but I was paying for one. That $1,000 a month was for one.
They had a physical broadcast, physical studio, and a physical transmitter and everything.
They had 2 or 3 studios because the Hindi programs, Kannada, Malayalam, Tamil, almost every language was represented.
Wow.
Amchens Nasle.
What?
Amchens Nasle. So they gave me 2 hours. As I said, some divine intervention, zaite makadar merlo, even from places I didn't think I would. Like this Raghavan just said, gave it to me and said, "You carry on." And so we were doing it from 7 to 9. And there were people who used to listen and say, call me and say, "What is this language?
I see.
This music is amazing." Tanka language somzona halli. But the music is universal, no? And we have such great music.
Milena,
Actually,
there's a
music
theory on
is-
this. Let me interrupt you here. There's a theory on this.
Right.
My friend Sigrid Pfeffer, who is a German audio person from the radio stations there, she
Right.
argues that Goan music, Konkani music, Mangalorean music, is as charming as Cuban Balkan music, which you cannot understand, but which you can beat, dance to the beat. African music. It's got that charm, that kind of thing in it.
Yes.
So you're absolutely
Sri
right there.
Lankan music, the baila music,
yeah.
that happy
Yeah.
rhythm and tone
Yeah,
and everything. So we had people listening in. They were Nigerians, they were Cambodians. They were just listening for the music.
Wow,
Right?
wow,
Yes, it was a great success.
fantastic.
অশেষ sustain করপাক নয়।
No. See, you are talking from tiredness and the pressure of keeping going all these years. But
Yes.
as one of your fans for a long time, I don't remember how long, maybe 6-7 years, I don't know. But I feel like when I first came across it, it was, oh wow, like what are they doing this Konkani in Canada and sustaining it for so long, and I thought it was fantastic, and I still think it is so while it is tiring and sometimes we don't get the support which the community should be coming up with. Nonetheless, I still think history will always remember the kind of inputs that you all have given, the kind of attempts you have made, and this is why we need to keep these stories not just in our memories but recorded somewhere, so that sometime down the line people say, oh God, this
টাকা
was-"
লাগুন দেওয়ান তু কাদার।
I don't know about that, but
Let
that's
me
okay.
go back to the tiredness.
Yeah.
I got rejuvenated every Saturday. This is the first Saturday in 13 years that I am not going to be doing the radio.
Oh,
I
God.
finished it.
Oh,
I completed. There's an emptiness. There's a vacuum because I loved it. And my
course.
husband always said, this is the passion that keeps you alive. The tiredness came from the lack of empathy and the apathy of the community, and the community people, the leaders who could have probably given me some money to
Yeah.
keep this going. I never got anything from them, and that is, I would say, almost the tragedy of this situation. I didn't need much money except for editing, paying SoundCloud. It's about $500, a month. The communities here, the community leaders here, the Goan community leaders, I should say, could have helped.
Yeah.
I reached out, but they suggested I do it as a not-for-profit, so that they would be, the optics would be good, and so they could, I could jump onto their motherboard and get some help. But that was not forthcoming either. But I am a person, the more you put restraints, the higher I jump.
Fantastic.
So that didn't stop me.
Fantastic. No, it's hard to keep these small community ventures going, and people misunderstand, no, because they think that someone is
আমি
doing
পয়সা করতাম।
making a fast buck or whatever. But tell us about the people who helped you along the journey.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. For every one person who thought she doesn't need help, she's doing fine, why would she be doing this if she was not doing fine? This whole thing of doing something for the community, altruistic thing, some people do not understand that some people can be altruistic. But for every one, there were 5 people who helped by sponsoring various events, by being there for me, by giving me money, donating money from the Mangalorean and the Goan community. And tanka sodans avari astili sodans, by also volunteering. It was amazing. This radio, more than me giving to the community, it has taught me so much about
True.
the
We are learning ourselves. And of course, from the people who helped to set it up, who helped you to co-host it, who sent in the news from Mangalore and Goa, and of course, not to forget the musicians who shared their music and understood that this was a community thing. We cannot demand commercial rates at every stage because others are not, like I always say about my book publishing. No, I'm like an Uncle Scrooge. I'm not generous with what I hand out because I'm not making much myself. So people understand that, and but not everyone. So, but tell us about.
I think you understood me the most because you are in a similar position there in Goa.
No, the media is tremendously crucial, Milena, and I think that we cannot expect the market to fulfill all our media needs. So the community will have to step in, however small it is. We have community newspapers in Chennai. We were just talking to a lady from Chennai this evening, where they have community newspapers based on advertising, where they talk about community issues, and they are free sheeters. They are handed out as free sheeters. then there are small book publishers, there are all kinds of things, and I think everything adds up. But tell us about the news operations both from Goa and Mangalore. Who did it? And I think I enjoyed it tremendously.
Yeah, the news was being filed by Jerry DeMello for the longest time, but he did his research, and even if he was in Florida, he used to file it live when we were live.
Wow.
It occurred to us only later that he could have recorded it and sent it to us, but everything was live, and so wherever he was in the world, he would file it from there.
Wow.
But he was Canadian.
So this was a
And
very
he's-
Mangalore-focused capsule.
Sogle Munglurje
Oi, oi.
Gozali.
Oi.
Oi. And because people, of course, you would think everything is on the net. No, everything is not.
Yeah.
For instance, the news that was being filed by Tina Costa, Amje Tina Bai,
Yeah.
for the past 2-3 years, all on volunteer based. She used to get news to us that we never knew things had happened in Goa that way because she was on the ground there.
News
Right.
doesn't travel, Milena. News doesn't travel as much as it should, or as much as we
Yes.
think it would. Because that local kind of news which people want to hear about, that is not reaching
Right.
all over the place. My claim to
Right.
fame is I'm always going to claim 2% credit for introducing Tina to you. Tina did a fab
Yes,
job.
I was going to say that.
Tina did a fab job. I'm
That's
taking credit for it
also
anyway.
Varekuru.
But she did a
It
fab
was-
job. She did a fab job with the news.
She is so good that usually news can bore people a little
Yeah.
bit. But people used to write to me and say to me, what a fabulous news reader she is. And hats off to her. And tum kahan bari aisa.
No, but the
You-
person we have to give
Thank you.
credit to is probably her father, Alan Costa. Alan
Right.
Costa. Who was a
I've
great.
never known him.
I've heard him. I've heard him as a youngster. I've heard this radio announcer
Never.
called Alan
Yeah.
Costa. He pronounced his name in a very unusual way. It was not Alan. It was Alan Costa. And
Oh.
Tina will correct my
English, right?
pronunciation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he was also he was many things. He was a creator of theatre. He wrote songs. He wrote many famous Konkani songs,
Multifaceted,
Kantara
yes.
and things like that. So
Yes.
I mean, the real credit goes to this great man who's no longer with us. So anyway,
Yeah, but you are the great connector. You have connected me with so much and so many
Milena,
things.
those who can do, those who can't connect,
Now
connect.
teach.
But having said that, I also think that the postman's job is an important job because he brings you the good, bad news and everything that is
You
important.
are
No.
a
The
reservoir
interview is
of
not about me.
talent.
So cut. I won't let you talk about
No,
that.
no.
But
I have to give you a shout
but
out.
but no, that's
Uh,
fine.
right.
See, we all do it because we believe in the importance of this work, Milena. But tell us along the way, what were your 3 most important or most pleasurable moments? Some feedback or something that someone said, or when you realized that it was making its dent. What were these?
Oh, number one has to be my die-hard fans. The kids used to say, which are older people, that they used to switch on the computer half an hour before I appeared and listen to the podcast or broadcast, whichever, from the time the Radio Mango jingle comes on and till the last. And there were times when I used to upload it a little later if I were busy. Twice I even forgot to upload. And so they used to call me and say, we are waiting, what has happened? Is there no podcast, no broadcast today? And I would say, I'm sorry. I'd run home from wherever I was and upload it. I mean, that is the biggest gratification, right? Knowing that there are people for whom this radio was a connection to their memory back home, their nostalgia, their music, which was completely absent. And you could say, oh, they could go to YouTube and watch it. But no, this was a collection of songs. This was someone talking to them in Konkani. And so the Mangaloreans and the Goans. And that was number one. Number two, I always say that I am a big fish in a small pond. But whenever I go to Goan and Mangalorean functions, the people who come up and tell me how grateful they are for this radio. they are the people who kept me going by always letting me know that they are listening, and the respect, I would say, that they gave the language. I feel it was more for the language than me. They understood how tough it was for me to do this. Yeah.
And 3?
And as I said earlier, there are 5, 6, 7, but I'll say number 3. I have learned so much. मुझे कोंकणी तुमचे भाषेन असली इतली बरी न्हय, because
Right.
we only spoke to people around us, the neighborhood. Munglurkaraची कोंकणी पळयल्यार mine was then still in the ABC level.
Right.
Tanji Konkani is really literary, and they all speak
Right.
it like that, no? So I learned Konkani. Ata I can have a conversation with no difficulty.
Wow.
Poile our script Englezin boron, magir upran translate korun,
Hoy.
upran, there was a whole upran. Ata tashe noy, I can write Romi directly from thought to paper, Konkani nata maka. So I have learned so much. Ani maka ही gozal au noka asli ki
Hoy.
Munglur kara. Imagine how ignorant I was. Originally going kara aslet
Hoy.
mon.
Hoy.
Ani koshe tanchi story, of course, thanks to Alan Prabhu,
Hoy.
whose books I read.
Yeah.
So many people contacted me. I got to know about Daiji World. The whole story about the Mangaloreans. Kite originally amche, goinche.
Hoy.
And just to keep the traditions, they went south.
Alan-
I learned so much.
Alan always tells me, he says, Rico, you keep talking about the diaspora, but you forget the earliest and the biggest diaspora, which is the Mangaloreans. So the Mangaloreans. So the most of the Mangaloreans, maybe 90% of them, whether Hindu, Catholic, whatever, even
Yes.
Muslim, would trace their roots to Goa in that sense.
Absolutely, they do. And they're very proud.
Yeah.
And so I learned so much about the language, about Mangaloreans, the difference. I can now understand every bit of Mangalorean Konkani,
Wow.
which a lot of people goans can't. I've understood different types of Konkani. I've understood our culture, amchi Sanskruti. Sogle maka kolonaila through Radio Mango.
It's
So
a learning
the biggest
learning
learner
experience
was
for
me.
us. Yeah, for us. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I like
So-
the way you produced your programs, Milena. It was a mix. It was a mix of talk, a lot of music, little bit of talk, lot of music, some amount of news from home, Mangalorean Goan updates. When there were two persons doing it, it was great fun because you kind of counterbalanced each other and
Absolutely.
so tell
I
us
mean,
what was the
that-
formula? What was the formula of a Radio Mango program?
So, because I brought in very early Baka Gomleki, Munglur Karna Zalar He complete Zamjana. This is for the Konkani speaking people. And you won't believe Zaite Goenkar who don't even listen to it were asking me, why have I included the Mangaloreans? Which
Yeah.
the thought, I do not understand the thinking behind, but my thinking was to make it Mango, Mangaloreans, and Goans. And thank God, because I think thanks to their love and for the language, Munglur Karache, I could sustain
It's
this
a strength.
radio.
It's a strength.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. And listeners, I know,
Right.
and they listen to it
I see.
so faithfully.
I see.
Right.
And you
So,
overcame. Sorry for interrupting you. You overcame the boundary between these two communities, which can be a bit rivalrous, if that's the word, at some stage, particularly in
Silly.
places like Bombay,
Right.
where they are competing for the same jobs, and they look down on each other and all these kind of things. So,
Right. That's an excellent point you made. It was Radio Mango that brought these two communities together.
Wow.
And zaite amche teatrista satana.
Right.
They forgot goinche teatr kori, goinche cantoris, goinche actors. You won't believe, thanks to Radio Mango, and they have said this to me, so I can say this with authority. Ki thanks to Radio Mango, they brought in, which was the great connector between Goans and now Mangalorean people असतात आमच्या गोंयचे तियात्राचे
होय.
मानचे
आणि थोडे
And-
तियात्र
and vice versa.
आणि थोडे तियात्र मांगरोळ सुद्धा पावल्या नाही.
Boy,
Yeah, Disani.
but hanga tosle nasle it was two silos म्हणतात
होय.
तशे. But आता ते असतात आमचे बरोबर, आम्ही असतात तांचे बरोबर.
Boy. But there is a
And
reason for
that's
that,
really
Milena.
boring.
If I can interrupt, there's a reason for that. See, the Tiat was born 130 or so years ago, by which time the Mangaloreans had already left. So it was born among Goan communities in Bombay, of course. So they don't have that tradition, but now there's a lot of interchange going on.
Now, and this another point, Asaki, most theats use salset konkani,
Right.
shashti konkani. The munglur karang machi kotin porta noi. Hangatsoi, teatsoi, hashkatai, teshkatai. It's alien to
It's a
them.
dialect, yeah.
But ते येवन आनी थंय तांकांय गमले तांकांय आतां समजणी आसा दॅट देर आर बार्देस कोंकणी देर सालसेट कोंकणी देर इलियश कोंकणी कशी वेगळी आसा ती तांकां दे हॅव ऑल्सो लर्न समथींग एंड दॅट कॅन ओनली हॅपन बाय एक्सेप्टन्स ऑफ अनदर कम्युनिटी करेक्ट
True, very
by
much.
intermingling.
Very much.
If
And-
you're staying in your own corner
Yeah.
magir knowledge is not open to you.
True.
So
Especially when you have
I
so
would
much
say that is the biggest
contribution.
contribution or heritage that Radio Mango has left
Wow.
to bring the two communities together. Well,
That reminds us of Alfred Rose's song, Pai Munglur Karen, Mai Going Karen, you know, those kinds of things.
Ani kuznant lipas mun tika kuznant
Right.
door chinoi
Right.
tika salan adun
Man
man
Diusai, Man Diusai. Yeah, we have to bring
How
Konkani to
what
the
a
hall
visionary.
and give the language its respect. I think the Bombay Goans played a huge role in terms of promoting Konkani, you know, when as long as they were one of the villages
That's
of Goa was in Dobitalau, but as of now it's kind of dissipated. So they played a huge role in building the culture of Goa, but the Bombay Goans also.
No, all of us at various levels,
Yeah.
at various times, have contributed towards the Konkani movement. Kaushal, you know.
True.
I used to go when I was in Bombay. I attended a couple of theats
I
in
see.
Rang Bhavan, and I used to be amazed that they had such a plethora of actors and people singing, and I was like, "What? This is as good, if not better than."
This
Goa."
was 1980s or
Yes, correct. It was in the 80s. It was in 1980 that I moved to do my master's. And I was there for 7 years before I got married. And I saw a lot of Konkan. And even when I walked in Marine Lines, where my St. Xavier's College is, Konkani uloitaletlo.
I see. Right.
Yes. In the Irani joints where
Okay.
we went to have some cutting chai and ban maska, thui konkani ai konkani autale. When you went to Metro Cinema, thui konkani. Toshe hanga na, unfortunately. Munglur karuleta. But anana, but hopefully, I don't know.
It has gone to UK, to places like UK with Swindon and the younger generation of Goans, not the ones who went in from East Africa, but the ones who went directly from Goa have
Yes.
taken it there. Though
That little detour to East Africa may have taken away the connection, because the guys who've gone to UK, they sogle thui at UK airport, Konkani ulong
Right,
melta.
right.
And you get such a start and a good one. I mean, you hear a lot of Konkani expletives, bad words.
One thing you
And
said,
that itself also is a connection.
one thing you said reminded me that one fine day people are going to say that this was the contribution of Radio Mango to the Konkani cause. There's no doubt about it. But
I hope.
But tell us something about the disappointments that you had, maybe with the three biggest disappointments, lack of community support or whatever.
One is lack of community support in terms of listenership also. People used to say, "Oh, we heard it once, we loved it, but why don't you have it on a Sunday? Because we are at home on a Sunday. Why don't you have it?" I mean, I cannot change the format and the day the radio get broadcast for one person, If you like something, you make the time to listen to it. That's where I come from. And and understand that four of us who started the radio sacrificed our time, our Saturday entertainment time, our family time, to be with in the studio. But lack of the Goan community listenership, I would say, which could have been much stronger because we are a bigger community here. And definitely, I'll go out and say it, the GOA, which is a solid community community organization, could have, I think, given me more support in terms of finances. I could have then carried this on, for longer. But for whatever reason, they chose not to. First, they said because I was because it was a not for profit. So, sorry, it was for profit, and then tried to make it not for profit, but nothing was forthcoming. There were little help here and there, but financial help is what I needed,
Tell us,
which didn't.
tell us about your background, your own background.
My background, I did, after my English literature and linguistics degree, master's that is, I decided very early on that I would want to be actually an advertising writer. But when I applied to St. Xavier's College from Goa, just 20-year-old, um, that faction was filled up, the advertising. They said, why don't you come and do broadcasting? Because you'll also be writing. And it was good because I did radio and television.
Wow.
But lo and behold, I went into advertising. And this thing was just a degree. Of course, it helped me because at that time, advertising was not specific. We did everything. We did radio, we did television, we did direct marketing, we did publishing, we did print ads. So it helped for me to understand. It took so many years, almost 20 years or 15 years for me to come back to what I was trained for, that is radio and television. And so it didn't just happen out of the blue, Radio Mango. I had a little background of having studied it. So all those things helped.
Amazing.
And now I continued my advertising. I'm a creative consultant. My company is called Out of My Mind. And so this was a passion project on Saturday, but really my joie de vivre.
There are two
It
other Konkani radio stations, one in Southampton, one in Auckland, if I'm not mistaken.
uh, in New Zealand,
New
yes, there
Zealand.
is one. I think it's in Auckland.
And
Yes,
Southampton,
yes.
Southampton.
Well,
But it's amazing to see what people have tried, and I think we need to
that's
document
beautiful.
and to keep it
That
up.
is beautiful. Yeah.
A
So
bit,
good.
sorry,
Try korta,
Goy,
koshish korta.
Goy,
Goy.
Goy.
And
Auckland is
kudos.
again Mangalorean and Goan, and
Goy.
Southampton is more Goan in that sense.
Goan. Goy. Goy.
Yeah.
Goy. I've forgotten the radio's
RJ
name, but they
Rocky,
seem to.
RJ Rocky, Rock is there in
Yeah, Rock.
Southampton. Yeah.
Goy. Anitaji Bail Bihula. I
Okay.
think they both Vaurta Zaitets
Goy.
Kunkne
They're
Khatir.
on Facebook.
And
They're
in
on Facebook.
Auckland also.
Yeah.
And that Frankie
Frankie sends
Fernand.
news. Yeah, Frankie does the news.
Goy.
And
I like his news.
Auckland is called Susega Donpar. Susega Donpar.
Susega
Dunpar. Dunpar. Yeah, that's
Goy.
Mangalorean
And
pronunciation.
even that, some Goans had a problem. They said Danpar kidak munta. That should be Denpar. But Danpar is the correct way of
Yeah,
saying it.
I guess there are dialectical differences which we just have to live
It's
with. Yeah,
fine.
yeah, it's fine. It's
Whether
fine.
it's Danpar, Donpar, or Danpar,
We know the meaning. We
it
understand
doesn't
what you're
matter.
saying. So
Right.
Sushega
Let's
Donpar.
not nitpick.
Yeah, if for
Right.
those who don't know, it means a lazy or relaxed afternoon.
Afternoon. I
Afternoon.
love the name. I love
Nice,
the
nice,
name.
nice.
And Susegad is a very Goan term. So they have kind
Yeah.
of combined.
Yeah. Let me
Susega.
try a rapid fire round. Though I've not come prepared for it. In one line or one word, your answers that you can give. Your favorite Konkani song?
Oh man, so many.
No, that's
I'll say Sopon. Kedna to Disiatolo. Lona's song.
Lorna Supon. Okay.
Way.
Your favorite
As
Goan
well
village?
as Bekarai Tapai.
Yeah. Your favorite Goan village? It has to be.
Has to be mine, which is Parra. But every village has its own little quaintness and specialty about it. Yeah.
What do you like
But I
best?
grew up in Parra, so
Yeah. What do you like best about Goans?
our Goans from Goa, I'll talk about.
Yeah.
We are very accepting, the Goans from Goa. Um,
You think
the
so?
hippies
You think
came
so? You think so? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for
Now,
interrupting.
so ata maka khobor na, when I grew
Yeah.
up, we used to have random hippies starving, and they used to come to our place, and we used to give them some food, even though we lived in Parra and not, we left them alone. Then came waves of so many ata Delhi Karaila. It was always our propensity to accept and let people live. Why did people like to come to Goa? We never gawked at them and made life miserable for them. We let people be.
Yeah.
People would be naked on the thing. We didn't care. They'd wear virtually nothing. We didn't care as long as they didn't
Trouble us.
disturb
Trouble
our
us. Yeah.
platform.
Yeah. And what do you dislike the most about Goans?
I think we are too focused on singing and dancing. I mean, uh, most of our events are that is the kind of image we give people. One of the mayors, now she's retired, she went on stage and said, hey, Goans are known for their dancing, and that we are known for many other things. We are serious people. We have great architects. We have great writers. We have so many greats, poets. People don't hear. Even here, the other communities think, oh, it's a Goan party. There'll be a lot of booze. There'll be a lot of singing. There'll be a lot of dancing. While that is a part of us, I don't think it should be all-consuming. That's what I dislike, that we are not moving to change that perception about
If
us.
you had a choice, radio, TV, internet, or print,
Oh, radio is my first love.
Why?
I just love
Why?
radio. Television, you have to be good looking. You have to be young. People don't want to look at somebody. Look at television all over the world. Look at our own in India. But radio, it's the voice.
Yeah.
And the power of the voice, you imagine who it is. You may never even know who that person is.
it's something very intimate, no? The way someone is
Yes,
talking
it's
to you,
very
you feel you're
intimate.
listening to a friend.
Yes, and you can carry that with you into
Yeah.
the washroom,
Yeah.
into your car.
Yeah.
You can carry that with you.
You don't have
There
to.
are
You're
people
not a
who say
prisoner.
that-
You're not a prisoner in front of it.
No, people listen to Radio Mango when they're about to go to bed. They
Yeah.
said to me that it soothes them. So there's a lot of intimacy. There's a lot of imagination, and there's a lot of convenience. And I think radio is coming back as podcasts. There's a reason why.
True.
It's simpler but more effective, in my opinion.
I think in India we made the mistake of assuming that radio is dead, which it is not. And even in Europe, in the morning hours, radio is still a dominant media there. And it
People,
has,
the truck drivers at 5 in the morning, they cannot watch television.
yeah.
They listen to the radio. And one guy told me, I was talking to him, he mentioned two names, Pooja and somebody, and he said, they are my companions when I'm
Nice.
driving long distances to and I thought, how wonderful is that? He said, I don't know who they are, but what they say to me stays with me, resonates with me. You can't watch television as you're driving. I think radio is a very strong medium, and it is my definite winner.
Any regrets for Radio Mango? If you could do it differently, what would it be?
No, none. I think that's the way it had to be. Struggle and all of that. That made the journey much sweeter, Frederick.
So nice. On that lovely note, maybe I've quizzed you enough, but if there's anything else that I forgot to ask or you like to put down or mention, please feel free to.
It's radio, right? Let them imagine. I think we've said a lot, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
All the very best, Milena. I hope that your initiative and other initiatives inspired by you and your work can carry on when you all came to Goa, we had that lovely party because I thought more people should small place at Carlos's Caravella, and
That was beautiful.
yeah, and
That
Carlos
was
is no longer
so
with us,
good.
so I was just thinking about him this Christmas. But I
Right,
think I
right.
think that it's a great job. Keep it going, keep it up. We have to support ventures like this. I don't know where the gap will be filled with, but something will happen. I'm optimistic. All the very best to you.
I'd like to remind viewers that we'll be back. Radio Mango will be back March, April on YouTube. So I really, really hope people in Goa and elsewhere, Mangalore and all over the world will listen and watch. And I'd also like to say, Frederick, that I do wish the government of Goa or the Konkani aspect of the cultural aspect of Goa would recognize the hard work that's put by people in Australia, England, and Canada to keep this
True.
alive. I wish they would recognize this in some form,
Right.
just by even giving us a shout out when during all their events, because nothing moves you like people recognizing. Recognition is so important,
Yeah.
not the awards,
Yeah.
just the
I
recognition.
understand fully what you're saying.
Yeah.
But आमचे लोग कितें मोतुकूच when we are dead and gone ते मागीर बारा कितें मैले मोशीक बारा शेर दूध. They'll talk very highly of those who did things in the past. But what about people who are
Or
doing
as
this now?
Shakespeare said, the evil that men do lives after them, the good is oft interred with their bones. Let's hope it's not like that. I
Yeah.
just hope the good that all these people
Yes.
are all of us who are, including you, will be remembered and recognized.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All the best. Thanks for your time on this Saturday
Thank
morning.
you.
Saturday morning in
Okay.
Canada, Saturday night here. Thanks, Milena. All the
Yes.
best. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you. Right.
Bye. All the
Thank you.
best.